So, plenty for Amorim to sort out this summer then, which brings us nicely onto a transfer update with James Savundra, who's with me in the studio now. Let's get straight into Rashford. So we're hearing there that he's not there. He's been given extra time to negotiate or organise a move away from the club. What is the latest?
Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating what Ben was telling us there. 5 players aren't reporting for pre-season duty as United give them time to explore moves away. One of those is Marcus Rashford. Now, Aston Villa turned down the opportunity to sign him permanently for £40 million following what was a largely successful loan spell. Barcelona do remain interested in signing Marcus Rashford. That's after they seemingly missed out on Luis Diaz and Nico Williams, who's just signed a 10-year contract at Athletic Club Bilbao. The reality is that Barcelona, as much as this feels like a great suit for Marcus Rashford, they're going to struggle to register new players without selling them first. In terms of major incomings, it's great to see Matheus Cunha at pre-season training for United today. That's their only major incoming so far. United are expected to go back in with an improved offer for Bryan Mbeumo. There's a feeling that United's latest proposal, which was rejected, which was worth an initial £55 million, reaching £62.5 million of add-ons, isn't far away from what Brentford are looking for. But I think as far as Brentford are concerned, it's the structure of the deal which is most significant for them. They want at least £65 million. They want to eclipse what Manchester United paid for Matheus Cunha. And you can understand that when you consider the season that Bryan Mbeumo has just had, 20 Premier League goals. But they want a structure of the deal whereby the majority of the £62.5 to £65 million is guaranteed, not made up of add-ons. And Mbeumo, he only wants to join United, but it was fascinating hearing from the Brentford sporting director, Phil Giles, last week. He told us Mbeumo is happy to stay if a deal cannot be agreed. But I don't think we're too far away. We're talking about £2 or £3 million, I think, in the structure of the deal. I think this will happen. I think United fans may be slightly frustrated. It's taken longer than they wanted, and he's not there this morning at Carrington for pre-season training.
United were at one point quite heavily linked with Victor Gyökeres, weren't they? But it now looks like he might be heading to Arsenal. So how is that move progressing?
Advanced talks right now, no club-to-club agreement, but we understand that there's a willingness from all parties, in particular Arsenal and Gyökeres, to get a deal done. And Arsenal really encouraged by the fact that it appears like Victor Gyökeres wants to join, not expecting personal terms to be a problem. He's been given the opportunity to delay his return to pre-season, as we saw with those Manchester United players exploring a move away. He was due back today. He's been given until Friday, but of course, if these talks accelerate and continue to progress, it's unlikely they'll ever see him back at the training ground again. Signing a striker clearly has been the big priority for Arsenal in this transfer window. They've been busy getting the second-choice goalkeeper. They've been busy refreshing that midfield, but it's a striker they're after. It looks like Victor Gyökeres is the main target right now, and talks are advancing.
Yeah, I think a lot of Arsenal fans will be quite relieved with that news, but until it's over the line, then they won't be too relieved. Arsenal, it sounds like they also want to get another attacking player in, and there's 2 players in particular that they've been heavily linked with of late.
Noni Madueke, that's a really interesting one. Chelsea are expecting an offer from him from Arsenal. We understand he's emerging as one of Arsenal's top targets in this transfer window. Arsenal have looked at a number of players in those wide positions, the likes of Real Madrid's Rodrigo. There hasn't been club-to-club contact between Arsenal and Chelsea yet, but Chelsea are expecting an offer. Really interesting to hear from Enzo Maresca at the weekend. He said any players in his squad who are unhappy are free to leave. The other player that Arsenal are heavily interested in is Ebere Eze at Crystal Palace. He's a top target for Arsenal in this transfer window. He's open to the move as well. He's got a release clause around £60 million, which could rise to £68 million if all conditions are met. As far as Crystal Palace are concerned, they're in a bit of limbo right now. They want to strengthen their squad. They want to keep their best players. That's despite there being uncertainty surrounding their place in the Europa League next season. So I think 2 players there of real interest to Arsenal as they look to refresh that attacking front line.
Yeah. All right, how about the white half of North London then? I mean, how close, how strong is this interest in Mohammed Kudus that Spurs have?
It's very strong, and he's very, very interested in joining Tottenham. As far as we understand, he only wants to join Tottenham at this moment in time. Spurs remain in talks with West Ham around the signing of Mohammed Kudus. He's not interested in speaking to any other clubs. There is interest from Chelsea as well. We wait to see if they try to accelerate that, because they have been very busy already this summer. So Tottenham had a bid rejected for £50 million, but talks are ongoing, which is encouraging. There is a big gap in where the 2 clubs are right now in terms of what West Ham want and what Spurs are willing to pay. But the player wants to join. He wants to play in Europe next season. West Ham are expecting an improved offer. Personal terms, we don't think they're going to be an issue. he still has a contract up until 2028 at West Ham, but I think the feeling is if they can get really big money for him in this transfer window, then it gives Graham Potter in his first summer transfer window the opportunity to make a number of signings to really improve the squad and build that squad within his own image.
And finally, one more attacking player that's generating quite a bit of interest at the moment is Anthony Elanga of Nottingham Forest. What's the latest on his potential move away from Forest?
Well, we reported last week on Sky Sports News that Newcastle have made an improved offer of £55 million to sign Elanga from Nottingham Forest. Talks do continue. Now, he's one of Eddie Howe's top targets this summer. He's believed to be intrigued by the project at Newcastle. Newcastle back in the Champions League next season. They're looking to strengthen their attacking options, and he had a brilliant season for Forest last season. At one point, it looked like he could be playing in the Champions League for Forest. Unfortunately, they fell away towards the back end of last season, but talks do continue. It's incredible the rise he's had since leaving Manchester United a couple of years ago. He's had a really good couple of seasons at Nottingham Forest. We wait to see if he takes a step up now to Newcastle. Talks ongoing still.